Hi, I'm Nicola Cairncross.
Hi, hello, hey, hi.
I'm going to talk to you about success.
Yes. Hi everyone, it's Nicola here, and I just wanted to say hi. And I know you're having lots of storms back in the UK, aren't you? We've had one ourselves in Greece this week. There was 2 days when it got very, very hot and sticky, and then there was a massive thunderstorm over the mountains just out the back here. Yeah, it's been an amazing week. It's been really, really enjoyable. I've had my first Greek lesson, which was good fun. I went to see one of the recommended people in the town, Marina, and she made it really enjoyable. I told her I was a visual learner, so she did lots of coloured crayon stuff, and she says it'll be easier if I learn to read and speak Greek at the same time, because I'll be able to look at the letters and the words, and that'll help me. I'm not convinced, but I'm going with it for now. But I definitely came out of the first lesson feeling that, you know, instead of feeling that something was going to be incredibly difficult and not much fun, I came out of it feeling, yeah, I can do this and it's going to be fun. So that was really interesting. Learning to speak a new language, especially one as different to English as Greek is, at the age of 55, well, you know, the long winter's evening's just going to fly by. What else have I done this week? I've got Write Club today. My creative writing group are coming up to the house today, actually. They're coming here. And that's going to be great fun. So yeah, this week I'm one of the people being critiqued because I've written a short story of about 2,500 words to enter into a amateur writing competition. Even though I've got four or five books myself, they're all self-published, or the two that aren't self-published, I wasn't paid a advance fee. So I still count as an amateur writer, which is quite interesting. Yeah, so they're going to critique my story, and it's on the theme of the journey. So I wrote about going to Brisbane recently, and yeah, when I say critique, I don't mean, you know, they're going to pull it apart. I mean, they're going to make suggestions for how to make it better. They're going to say the bits they like about it, the bits that they didn't understand, and it generally makes for a much better story, which is a novel experience for me because I usually do everything on my own. So it's quite interesting to hear other people's opinions about what they liked and what they didn't like. So that's happening later. Yeah, on Monday I had a lovely day. I woke up and went down to meet a friend at the local beauty salon, which is called Beauty Space, and it's Martina and Anastasia, and they gave me a very good going over. Basically, we were there to get pedicures, and I had a bit of a wax as well, and the pedicures were hilarious because they are extremely professional, and they just get on with it basically. And it took a while, and then I got beautiful feet. I ended up with beautiful feet with nail art on. So just went ahead and painted on my big toe. So I've got a big toe that looks like a jewel now. It was just incredible. It was like every business around here. They work so hard and they're so enthusiastic and they're so professional about what they do. It's really quite amazing. But they talk at top volume in Greek to each other because obviously the Brits don't understand a word. So we're talking in English to ourselves and then they're talking in Greek very loudly to themselves, and it's really, a gentleman we know called Howard came in for a pedicure as well, which was highly hilarious because you know, you just don't imagine that the guys in the village come into the beauty salon, the hairdresser, but they do, and they sit there, you know, looking quite comfortable and getting their pedicures done. It's really quite amusing. And then we went on afterwards to lunch at a favourite taverna, but it turned out they were having a bit of a cook-in, so they invite their guests to come and cook in their kitchen sometimes. And this time it was the turn of Michael and Ma, and they did a full Indonesian spread. It was just delicious, unbelievable. So a really, really pleasant Monday, really, really nice. Okay, so in the next section I'm going to be talking about something else that happened to me this week, which wasn't quite so pleasant, but we'll see. But you'll hear all about it in a minute. So yesterday somebody called Lisa turned up at my website, and I've got a thing on my website called Intercom, and it goes on my app and it also goes to my membership site, and it enables people who are on any of my properties to immediately get in touch. Now if I'm there, I'm going to reply because I've got Intercom on my mobile phone, and if they're asking a question that's time sensitive, I'd obviously rather reply rather than not. So Lisa comes through and she starts questioning me about my beliefs. She says she's been reading some of my material, specifically The Science of Getting Rich Online, and she wants to question me about my beliefs in God. And she's saying that up until that point, until she read about my beliefs, she was finding me pretty inspirational. She was loving the story. She was loving the fact that I was a bit older. She was, feeling pretty inspired by the whole thing. But because I state quite plainly that I'm an atheist, she basically found that a complete turn-off. Well, and she felt the need to come to my website and tell me so, which is a bit like coming to my front door, knocking on my front door, and then telling me that they don't like me because of my beliefs, which I think is pretty rude. I tried not to engage, I really did. I tried not to get involved in the conversation, but I just said in the end, look, I personally believe that it's more liberating and more, it would be better for the whole world if people took personal responsibility for their lives and their outcomes and how they feel about themselves and other people. And she wouldn't let it lie, and I'm trying really hard not to engage because I'm in the middle of something. I was actually getting a translation of my webinar, the Everywhere Online webinar, done for a lady who was deaf, and she said, I'd love to watch your webinar, but I'm partially impaired hearing. So I said, don't worry, I'll get a transcription done for you, and you can have the slides as well. So you can actually look at the slides and read the transcription and see if that helps. So I was in the middle of this while this Lisa turned up at my website, and I'm really trying very hard not to engage because I know that it's absolutely pointless arguing with people about politics and religion. You've got your beliefs, I've got my beliefs, and never the two shall meet most of the time. Anyway. So I knew this was going to be one of those conversations, and I'm really trying very hard not to get into it. But she then started accusing me of Satanism, which was pretty full on. And she also started demanding that I show her evidence to back up my beliefs that God doesn't exist. And I'm like, hang on a minute, why do I have to show you evidence that he doesn't exist when nobody in the whole history of the world has ever shown me any evidence that he does? So I thought, this is it, I've got to end this conversation here. So I did, and I just said, look, I'm really sorry, we're never going to agree, let's just agree to disagree, goodbye. And it got me thinking afterwards though, now I'm also a little bit on the fence about things like, well, I'm not actually, I totally believe in the law of attraction. I totally believe that whatever you think about manifests in your life, and I totally believe that we do have 100% responsibility for everything that happens to us, and that it all starts up here. But I'm not ascribing that phenomena, whatever it is, whether it's synchronicity or the butterfly effect or whatever, I'm not ascribing that to any external source. I actually do believe if it's going on, it's a scientific thing. It's something about the way we vibrate, the energy levels and all that stuff. But that's my beliefs, and I'm not trying to push them onto other people. And the other thing, as an entrepreneur, it's very, very dangerous to have any beliefs that mean that there's some little part of your brain that thinks you're going to get rescued. Because the minute you start taking 100% personal responsibility for your outcomes and know that if it's to be, it's up to me, if anything's going to happen, it's going to be you that has to do it, that nobody owes you anything. And Gary Vaynerchuk's very strong on this. He doesn't ever mention religion, very well done of him, but he does say that it's very, very important that you realise nobody cares about you except you. And even the people who love you very much, when you're complaining and moaning and whinging, they're really not listening. They're just giving you airspace to make you feel better. Now, this is the really key bit. If you somehow believe that there's a secret key or a prayer or a meditation or anything at all that you just don't know yet, and that one thing is going to make the difference between you and outstanding success, then I'm afraid you are onto a hiding for nothing. You are really going to shoot yourself in the foot. You're going to tie your hands together behind your back. You're going to hobble yourself. You really need to get it that if anything's going to happen, it's got to be 100% down to you. Now, a funny thing happens when you do that. As soon as you totally accept that, people start showing up in your life and doors start opening that weren't open before. And I think, again, it's something about the energy you're giving off. It's about the vibrations you give off when you have those kind of self-reliant beliefs. I think people want to help you more when you look like you don't need any help, and you're going to get there anyway, because that is a very attractive thing. I hope this helps, and I hope that you don't really believe I'm a Satanist. And do feel free to turn up and knock on my door at my website or my app or my membership site, and I will try and answer, and I will try and give you a reasonable response. But just don't turn up and call me names, okay? So on the podcast last week we were talking about business boundaries, and we've had quite a strong reaction from this on this one. Lots of people have contacted us via our Facebook private group and also the Facebook page to tell us how much this episode resonated with them. And one lady said that she'd been graphic designer and working for herself for the last 18 years, and she'd wished she'd listened to this podcast episode before she started. So do go and check it out at Own It the Podcast, episode 139. So it's Own It the Podcast /139. You can get that episode. And on the blog this week, I'm talking about overcoming setbacks and obstacles. So basically, everyone thinks that entrepreneurship is a smooth ride, that once you've found your product or your service or your offer that converts, everything's smooth sailing from there. But I can assure you it's not. You're going to come across obstacles and setbacks and techie glitches and challenges and all sorts of things. And if you're ready for them, it makes it a bit easier. On the blog, I talk about how you can overcome those obstacles and setbacks. In fact, I've got a special tool to overcome any obstacle or challenge, and I share that in the Inner Circle members area of my community online at nicolacairncross.com. So do come along and check that out. If you click on the Get Help from Nicola, you can choose between mentoring, consultancy or a done-for-you service, because we're just about to launch that. We're taking our Be Everywhere online service and turning it into a completely automated system for you. All you have to do is deliver 12 bits of content right at the beginning, and we can help you through that as well. But if you're not quite at that stage yet, then the Inner Circle membership's the one for you. It's less than the cost of a decent coffee every day, and you can get my help on tap whenever you need it through the app. So do come over to nicolacairncross.com and click on the How Can I Help button at the top, and you'll see all the different ways I can help you with your internet marketing. See you later.